If you're thinking about starting a data agency in 2026 and what you're doing is looking at what people have done in the past, then maybe it's not a great place to start. The last decade has sort of defined data agencies, and mine included, by building dashboards, building data pipelines, building analytical models, sort of executing sort of analytics and insight for businesses. Now, the problem with that, and the thing that I've seen changed over time, is that a lot of companies and organizations are taking analytics in-house. So in order to build dashboards or to run analytical models, they're relying on their in-house team to do that. And one of the reasons they're able to do that is because they have actually sorted out their data infrastructure. So they've brought in sort of data engineers, data warehouse people, cloud data warehouse people, and they've been able to build a stable environment where now their analysts, rather than worrying about cleaning the data, sourcing the data, transforming it, all that kind of stuff, they're actually now able to focus on the analytics. So what you find is that there are fewer and fewer companies now that actually want you to do the sort of standard dashboard and analytical modeling. The other thing that's really had an impact in the last couple of years has been generative AI, and especially those generative AIs that allow you to create analytical code. So you can ask a system like Claude or Gemini to create you Python code to build a churn model, and all you need to do is specify your table, what fields you have, and it will do the code for you. In fact, it will even suggest some transformations and feature engineering on your data and variables for you to build a really good data churn model. So that's actually meant two things. One is obviously internally they don't need big teams, whereas before you need a lot of expertise, a lot of people to build really, really complex models. They don't really need that now. So teams in-house have become leaner, and they've become very focused on what they do. The second thing that's happened is also there's a less demand for analytical companies or analytical agencies or data agencies to build those kind of analytical models, or even build and maintain dashboards. Again, like I said, a lot of it's been taken in-house with the rise of AI. Those in-house teams are able to access expertise from those AI that generally companies would have had to pay data agencies for. So if you're thinking about creating a data agency in 2026, not only do you have to worry about how organizations are in-housing analytics, you also got to worry about how other agencies are utilizing AI, and therefore the barrier to entry into this field has come down. If you think that you have a technical capability that will put you in good position to start a data agency, then you might want to reevaluate that, because like I said, with the rise of generative AI and the ability for these AI programs to code and provide you code for analytical models, or even building data pipelines, you find that technical expertise is not so much of a differentiator anymore, because people can set up a data agency and use generative AI to compete with that technical expertise. Therefore, where does it leave people who want to start data agencies in 2026? Now, I've seen there is a need, and I think you have to get to a certain scale where organizations do want you to do some of the analytical model dashboarding. Sometimes it's more the advanced stuff. So we, for example, get asked to build AI sort of applications, so deploying sort of generative AI, predictive analytics, machine learning, that kind of stuff into applications. Or we're asked to sort out a data infrastructure that's been organically grown, and they want to rebuild or re-platform the whole thing to make it best in class and adhere to best practice, or that the fact they may have loads and loads of dashboards in one particular tool and they want to migrate off that tool. They have the in-house team that could do it, but they want to do it quicker, so they ask us to assist their in-house team to move those along. Or the other thing we find is that some companies don't actually have data teams, and we get in with those companies to build either dashboarding solutions, including the data platform, or analytical model. But all of that has been on the basis of a few fundamental things. So it's those fundamental things that you need to be thinking about if you want to start a data agency in 2026. The first thing is that organizations and companies are looking for people with expertise in the area that they want. And what I don't mean is if they say, I would like someone to build me a Power BI report, or I'd like someone to build me a churn model or an upsell model or some kind of predictive analytics that does sales forecasting, they're not really asking, are you technically expert in that? What they're really asking is, do you have domain expertise in that? So have you built a churn model, for example, for a retailer or a video on demand service, for a subscription service? Do you have expertise in building dashboards for consumer goods companies? Okay, what they're looking for is that contextual knowledge that will mean that what you build is relevant to them. And so therefore it's not the technical expertise that they're looking for, more the contextual expertise. So the other thing they're looking for is your judgment skills. Organizations want to turn to someone who can tell them, look, I use this instead of this, or do this instead of that. They're looking for someone who could provide them that judgment on what is good and what is not so good, or what is bad. Because what they don't want to do is repeat mistakes of the past that either they have made or other organizations have made. They want to hire you because you have those kind of judgment skills that will help them avoid making mistakes that other organizations have made, or even they themselves have made in the past. And then finally, they're looking for trustworthy individuals and agencies, but it actually boils down to individuals. And how do they know that you are trustworthy? Well, you've got to be able to demonstrate that you're able to deliver, and that you will deliver what the client has asked for. Now, this can be in the form of getting references or testimonials from your previous clients, but it could also be you writing about your experiences in public forums like LinkedIn or Reddit to show potential clients that you are trustworthy, that you know about the landscape, you know about what can go wrong, what potentially could be a barrier or a blocker for a project, and how you've overcome that. So they're looking for credibility in that trust. If you create your data agent to say, we can automate this, we can build these advanced models, businesses now, or organizations, your clients, will expect that as a fundamental. That's no longer going to be a unique selling point. But what they are looking for is that, can you do this well? And can you do this and minimize as much risk for me as possible? They're looking for people who've lived and breathed, these kind of solutions, so that they can trust you in making those good judgments to deliver what they need. If I was to sum up how things have changed in the last decade to 2026, is that a lot of my clients are now looking for partners. They're looking for decision partners. And what I mean by this is they're looking for partners that can help them make decisions on their data and analytics activities. I'll give you an example. One of my clients is looking to deploy an AI solution, and what they want from us is, should they do this? And if they were to do this, what are the things that they need to worry about? So they want from us, based on our judgment and our expertise, is what kind of decisions should we make? What tool should we go with? What's the most appropriate tool? What kind of platform should we host this solution on? So those kind of things, they're looking for us to help them make decisions on the best solution for their use case. Now, those kind of things are really hard to demonstrate to a client unless you're, of course, working with them or you're speaking to them. But if you are going to be thinking about starting a data agency in 2026, then what I would do is not highlight all your technical capabilities, highlight more of your expertise, especially your contextual expertise. So if you have expertise in a certain domain or a certain technology, then talk about that. If you're an expert in analyzing, for example, ERP data or CRM data, then talk about that. Talk about all the use cases that you have around analyzing CRM or ERP data. Don't just talk about, I build customer segmentations or I build lifetime value models. Talk about how you've worked with a variety of CRM applications, how you've been able to extract data from those applications, and how you've been able to drive value for the business. Not that you've created models for them or segments for them, but how you've been able to drive value for them. The other thing, obviously, is worth mentioning when you're doing that is, what are the decisions that you've helped your clients make in order to get them to a better place in using data? In 2026, clients aren't going to ask you if you can analyze data or build data platforms. What they're going to be asking you is, can you help me use data responsibly, ethically, safely, so that I can operate more efficiently as a business, but also that I can operate and minimize my risk.